All right, so graphing the inequalities is very similar to just graphing our linear equations that we did a few units ago, back in Unit 2. And so the only difference with these is they're going to be written with the inequality symbols. And if they have the greater than or less than, it's going to be a dotted line. And if it has the or equal to, greater than or less than or equal to, it's a solid line. I like to remember it like, hey, if it has a solid line underneath the symbol, it's going to be a solid line. If we have the symbols that say less than, and the way that I remember that is if you make an L, right, that kind of says less than, so that means lower. So L shape is below, okay? And then obviously if it doesn't make an L, then it's going to be shaded above. And your solutions, we've been looking for solutions where two lines intersect. But solutions for this are going to be the ordered pairs in the shaded region. So we'll look at the first one here. This linear inequality, y is greater than negative 3x plus 4, is graphed here. So just to remember how to graph those really quickly, the 4 is the y-intercept, and then the slope is negative 3, so it goes down 3 and over 1. Down 3 and over 1. And because that does not make an L, that means greater than, that is why this is shaded kind of above the y-intercept. So always start shading there and then shade everything on that side. So is the point 4, 3 a solution? So we're going to graph 4, 3. So we're going to go over to 4 and up to 3. So that is where our dot is going to be. So 4, 3 is in the shaded region, so yes. All right. The next one we have is negative 2, negative 4. So we're going to go negative 2, then down to negative 4. So this point is not in our shaded region, so it is a no. Big no for that one. All right, and then we have the last one. 3, negative 5. We're going to go over to 3 and down to negative 5. So this one, because this graph is a solid line, it is right on that line. So that means the line is going to include that point. So we can say, yes, that is a solution. We'll look here at the second one. All right, we have this linear inequality. Y is less than x minus 2. So we're going to write, just to remember how it's graphed, the negative 2 is your y-intercept, so that's where we start. And then the slope is a positive 1, so it goes up 1 over 1. Okay. This is y is less than, so it makes the L, so that means lower. That's why it is shaded below the line. So we'll look at these here. Is the point negative 5, 1 a solution? So we'll go over to negative 5 and not down 2, just down 1. And that is not a solution because it is not in the shaded region. Is the point 4, 2? So we're going to go over to 4 and up to 2. So this one is on the line, but because this is a dotted line, we cannot include that point because we're not sure if it's exactly that point or not. So this dotted line up through here, we're not sure if that point is on it or not. So we go to the next one, and we have 2 and negative 4 for our point. And yes, that is because it's in the shaded region. All right, and then this is just kind of remembering how to rewrite these in slope-intercept form. So we have to get the y by itself. So what we would do is we would add 8x to both sides. And we would have 4y is less than 8x minus 16 divided by 4 for all three parts. And because I did not divide by a negative, I don't need to flip my symbol. It can stay the same. 8 divided by 4 is 2. and negative 16 divided by 4 is negative 4. So that is how we rewrite it. The questions that we have are dotted or solid line. So remember, if it's not a solid line underneath that doesn't have the or equal to, it is not a solid line. So looking at this one, for the dotted or solid, it is going to be a dotted line because of that symbol. Are we going to shade above or below? Well, if we make the L, that means below. All right, our next one over here, we're going to get the y by itself. So we need to add 2x to both sides. Bring down the negative 3y. It's less than or equal to 2x plus 9. We'll divide by negative 3. All right, and because we divided by a negative, we need to flip that inequality symbol over. That is negative 2 over 3x and minus 3. Okay, so this one, dotted or solid. So it has this symbol with the line, so that is going to be a solid line. And shaded above or below, well, that symbol does not make the L, so that means it is above. All right, and our last one is kind of a word problem interpreting the graph here. Which scenario could be modeled by this graph below? So what we like to do here is write these equations out. So we have the number of pounds of popcorn, y, minus 1/3. So this first one is going to be y minus 1/3 the number of pounds of cotton candy. And it is at most, so at most means we cannot have more than, that has to be less than or equal to 9, or just less than 9. Okay. So what we'll need to do is we'll try to get the y by itself. So we would move the 3x to the other side, or excuse me, the negative 1/3 to the other side. So that would become a positive 1/3, which would give us a positive slope. So this graph here has a negative slope, so that is incorrect. All right, we can look at the next one and look at it here. The number of pounds of popcorn, y, minus 3 times the number of cotton candy is at most 9. So it has to be less than or equal to 9, or less than 9. So again, we would move the 3x, negative 3x over, which would create a positive 3x. Maybe it'll make me make the x. And again, that is a negative slope, so that is incorrect. The next one, we have the number of pounds of popcorn, y plus 1/3. Cotton candy is at most 9. All right. So then we would move the positive 1/3 x over, which would give us a negative slope. Okay. And so we got to figure out, how is this graph operating? So if we look at the graph, our slope is, if we start from the y-intercept, we're going down 1 and over 3, and down 1 and over 3. So we do want our slope to be a negative 1/3 x, starting with the y-intercept at 9. So C could be the option, but we're going to check out D just to make sure that we're not missing something. All right, so D is y, the number of pounds of popcorn, y, plus 3 times the number of pounds of cotton candy is at most 9. If we got the y by itself, that would be a negative 3x, which is not the slope that we want. So we can cross that one out and know that our answer is C.